All right, guys, we're going to do a movie review today. We're going to be reviewing the movie The Cloverfield Paradox. So this was kind of a sleeper that just, up and on us. And
Oh, okay. It was a sneaky attack, but I think it blew up very largely or whatever.
Yeah, but whenever there's something with like little to no advertising, so like that was what like the second Cloverfield was. It was like, all right, and it's out. And then like this one's like, it's already out. You can see it in theaters tonight or on Netflix right now. Like whatever.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid spoilers, but that's been the word on the street is that people were kind of like, maybe there's a reason why they chose this avant-garde marketing campaign or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, well, I wonder because it's like, it was on Netflix right away, and I'm like, all right, so like, how big of a part did Netflix have in having this made? Were they like, we want one more, like, bring it out, come on, kid,
eat it, fucking take it.
And then I'm like, well, like, did it just get loosely wrapped into the Cloverfield universe? Did they add the name after the fact? Because aside from like literally the end, there's not much that makes it a necessity that this is a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, so. This is sort of the theme of my life is like if you told me, so I have not seen any Cloverfield movies.
Okay.
So let me give you my synopsis of Cloverfield. The first one is a found footage movie that everyone was frustrated with because you barely see the monster and they don't explain stuff, but people thought it was interesting and different and like good. And that poster with the Statue of Liberty or whatever. So it's like Godzilla, but you're not Godzilla. You're like a little dude, and it's real because you can't see it now. I was like, I have no interest in that whatsoever. I never watched it. 10 Cloverfield.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane looks awesome to me because it's John Goodman. Like, we can't leave. You don't understand. She's like crying, like, this whole thing. Like, how did this happen? You're in this bunker or whatever. And then someone says, obviously, it's called Cloverfield. I go like, oh, this is another tale from like the Cloverfield universe where like what's happening to the people. It's the same theme. It's like, well, there's monsters out there, but there's a little story. It's probably great. Did you see it? Was it good?
Yeah.
You're like, no, I hate that movie.
Okay.
So if you had told me, like, hey, we're going to wrap up this trilogy for, like, any series ever, and it's going to turn out that the unexplained events, the whole time, are explained due to, like, a Doctor Whoian tear in space-time that affects the past, present, and future, I'm like, ooh, I'm all for that. I fucking love that shit. Give me more of that shit.
No, I didn't dislike the movie. The movie was fine. I thought a lot of it felt like, and the convenience, not the word, more like, what the fuck was that? Like, I guess inconvenient was more of what my thought for a lot of this stuff was, where I was like, okay, so you're in another, like, let's just jump right into it.
So, spoilers. I think we should say you should watch this. Right? It's probably worth watching. Is that like the bottom line thing? What do we say?
I would like put a caveat there.
Okay.
Be like, if you like sci-fi, this is something you should watch. If you like horror, like this is not really your thing. If you're not into either of those subjects, this is probably not your thing at all.
Okay, I was gonna say, so we will talk about sci-fi horror. I'm so excited about talking about sci-fi horror shortly, if not immediately. But if you saw the trailer and said, oh, it's like Event Horizon, then no. But if you like sci-fi in general, right?
Yeah, I think this is much more of a sci-fi movie than a horror movie.
Yeah, if you like open the airlock, oh no, it's blinking. If you like that, then
yeah, not really a thriller either. Like just a sci-fi. So going into spoiler zone right now.
Jumping into the deep end.
So my issue is with this movie is so you have two space stations in two different dimensions, but activating this hyperdrive thing, whatever, kind of like merge them together. Yeah. So much so that like you ended up with one character that was in like one universe, now in the other universe. Yeah. Well, technically, actually ended up with a whole crew in the wrong universe, and one of the crew is still alive. That's what happened. And she ends up like in the fucking walls of the ship. And I'm like, holy shit. Like that moment I was like, this is crazy. And then she knows one of their names and I'm like, what the fuck is it?
That shit was fucking awesome. I fucking loved that. Her screaming in there and there being like tubes in her and all that shit as if she was
So she was like out in the wrong, like she was in this room, which is now that because the things are different.
Oh my god.
So like
awesome.
that is where the like exceptions of time kind of ceased being realistic for me and became like, well, why does that work in this universe?
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, perfect.
So, like, the best example here is a man's arm gets pulled through a wall and, like, kind of drags him around like a shark has it, and then his arm is gone.
Yep.
And it's just perfectly healed. And like you can see like as if you're trying to judge how old a tree is.
You can
like,
see the rings inside of Chris O'Dowd. Yeah.
So I was like, well, what was that? And that never gets explained, like what the fuck that was.
Yeah, the doctor says it's as if he was born this way. And then his arm is alive. It's like
yeah. So then I was
it's like thing.
Yes.
The thing.
and it's alive even after he's dead.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what the fuck is doing that? What enables your arm? Like, what part about being in a different dimension allows any of that to exist?
Right.
And I was like, well, certainly they'll get back to it and explain it. No.
No. And
Then
like,
there's some weird magnetic
like
thing happening.
And stuff. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, magnets are a thing. That could be something they didn't foresee.
Okay.
They've lost a lot of their officers that may have been like, no, you'll get a magnetic feedback. But then they become tendrils and they attack him and explode half the ship. And I was like, all right. What is the reason that happened?
That part I'm actually okay with. I hate everything else that you.
Why are you okay with that part?
Because they established throughout it that he can apply some sort of charge or something to that stuff, and it will wrap around whatever's like around it or whatever. So they weren't tendrils that were trying to grab him. They were, like the magnetic field was just causing that stuff to freak out. It wasn't like a monster.
I guess, but the magnet didn't stop, and it kept wrapping around him. Like, the tools on the far wall didn't drop, like the magnets ended, and they're like, okay, and they wrapped.
Yeah, that would have made it make more sense.
So I was like, all right, I'm still going to put that on my list of what the fuck is happening right there.
That's not nearly as what the fuck as some of the other stuff.
I got some more things.
Okay.
So the gyro gets pulled out of the central computer and into another man.
Yeah.
Now the gyro is roughly like this big.
No, it's smaller than that, but it's still
it's still
far too big to put into a
fucking
man.
big to not notice you have something in your body.
Oh yeah. It's certainly.
And assuming the rules don't apply from what put that lady in the wall. It didn't just move his organs around.
No.
It would have consumed his organs.
It's definitely cantaloupe sized.
And for some reason, that gyro, which was over here, and the worms, which were over there, both occupy his space.
No idea.
So the rules, as I took it, was when things were somewhere here and there, they can merge together from like parallel whatevers. None of that makes sense for either of those two objects.
No.
And I was like, all right. And what was forcing his eye? Was that worms?
And he's like talking to him as if it's himself. Okay, I want to say, I like weird shit, and I made the comparison to Event Horizon.
Yeah, but that was a great movie, and this was an okay movie.
At first, I was super excited about what this was going to be, because if you have to have a criticism of like Event Horizon, it's that all the weird shit is very like satanic. It's very like Hellraiser-y, and I think they make some sort of attempt to say like, well, that is hell. Everyone that's ever talked about hell has been touching the other dimension or some weird. Maybe I made that up or whatever the fuck, right?
Something
like there's some allusion to that, right? So like really, if like weird shit because you fold space or tear a hole in space happens, it should just be this random insane like stuff or whatever. So I was like, okay, but yeah, like the way this stuff goes very quickly turns into stuff where I'm like, wait though, but how does that work? What forces? Well, there's unexplainable things, and I'm like, wait, no, like how does the arm like write something? Because at first I'm like, oh well, that arm is still attached to like the other guy in the other dimension, and like he's writing it or something, and then like no,
he's dead.
We're just gonna let it go. I'm like, oh, like wait, what? Like okay. I don't know anymore now, right?
No, like things like that just kind of infuriate me where I'm like, well, what the fuck? Because like you're going for something here, but I feel like you had 3 writers, and one of the writers was into like really weird shit.
Yeah.
But they cut almost all his shit. But they're like, but this part's cool.
But they left in little things. Yeah, and then we have totally mundane, terrifying things, like when the hatch blows after the water fills and she just gets frozen and all that stuff, and just normal, like we
But what even caused that, and why couldn't you open the door again? Like,
just like
just
that,
random happenstance.
Yeah, well, that was just a normal malfunction with like whatever systems were involved there.
Because of other things happening, I've taken it as nothing is random, and was almost expecting the end to be like, I've been hacking you all along. I'm not from this. Like, and that girl like being like a demon plant or something.
Yeah.
Because it was like how. Like what I was saying earlier, convenient, but which is not really the word, is how one by one, like, everybody kept dying. And, that's how deaths happen in movies.
Right?
Always one by one. Often not groups are just, like, out of the thing. But, like, it felt so, like, I'm like, all right, and now it's been another 3 minutes, so someone else is going to die. All right, good, he's shot in the stomach now. Okay, he dies instantly. She had a million tubes running through all her organs, but we brought her back. And it just seems like death is not a thing unless you actually die. If you're moments away from death, they can heal you with their powers.
They take time to explain, like, hypergenic cell regeneration thing.
It's
so
cool.
That guy's like drag me to sickbay, plug me into the machine that fixes me. What are you doing? And all that stuff. No, I know, and like that at the end of the day is like sort of my like this didn't not I don't want to say it doesn't feel natural or something like that, but like
it wasn't.
It would have felt a lot better if like yes, someone was plotting, and someone was, but not in the way you would have thought.
Yeah.
Like right, like everything just felt like okay, we're gonna divide this movie up into chunks and have the things happen one after the other, which you could say about any movie, and I know that, but it shouldn't feel that way.
The ultimate enemy here is the girl from the other dimension.
Yeah.
And she's not really that bad of a guy. If you think about being put in her position.
Dude.
No, but honestly.
Totally.
She's doing what I think anybody would do.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is my Earth. I have to save my Earth. I don't care about your Earth.
Exactly. If Earth was fucked and you found yourself on like a station that could save Earth with its tech or whatever, but you knew that station had already crashed, so this must have been from another dimension. Yeah, that would be the whole thing, is to pull it and keep it here and use it.
And she even says it, like, kill 3 people to save 8 billion. Yeah, that seems like a no fucking brainer.
She has a point.
Where the movie got points for me, I love that when he 3D printed that gun and you saw how many bullets it was. I was counting like as things were going.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, they didn't go over the bullets.
Oh, neat.
Because I hate that in movies when it's like, that guy's a 6-shot revolver. He's fired 48 shots.
Yeah. No, and like it shouldn't have been like a kooky shootout thing, right? And honestly, the gun, like people say, what the fuck? There's a gun on board? Oh my god, lock it up! Like it's not this thing of like, yeah, there's like a place where all the guns are lined up on the wall.
Yeah,
like,
well, why would they have guns?
Exactly, and like they should react that way, not like, oh yeah, a gun, totally. They're like, that's super dangerous for various reasons. Like, get that out of here.
Well, we do have a 3D bagel printer. We could we could make anything.
Well, it's made of bagels. This gun, you know.
Well, it's a bagel gun.
I also loved how when she's like, hey, I know it's not my dimension, but I want to go down there, the captain like totally calls her out on all the bullshit. And he's
he ultimately said okay.
Yes, but he's like, no, you're already down there. That's her life. This doesn't make sense. Because like the minute she hatches that plan, I'm like, what are you gonna go down and talk to yourself and be like, can I hug your kids / my kids? That's so weird. It doesn't make sense.
I was trying to put myself in the position of each and every one of those family members. Like, well, would I be down? I'm like, it is technically you. I go, but we can see from like the one guy being a double agent in one area and not in the other area. I'm like, people are different enough. They're not exactly the same. I go, would you be like the ultimate babysitter? Like having 2 of somebody in your family, like do something. I'm like, I guess that'd be all right. Another breadwinner.
I would like
a movie.
Be
like, 2 wives.
I was just gonna say, like, I want a movie about that, just to do the whole thing of like, now the husband's falling in love with like the other you and all that stuff, and all this weird shit's happening. Like, that's awesome. But no, I like that he didn't just say I understand, or like no, like he actually said wait, I have like 3 bullet points here as to why that's
I am very smart. I run a space station.
Yes. And you're like,
that's
okay.
not gonna work.
Yeah, and I like it. I like that sort of calling out of things like that.
Yeah, I wonder what her actual job was, because like in the other world she could do it from home.
Some sort of communications thing or something.
Yeah.
They said something.
I thought she was like the human personnel officer or some stupid.
Well, yeah.
Are you HR?
Some
the
sort of,
fuck
some
are you
sort
up
of
here
coordinator,
for?
Yeah. Because that was the whole thing, and I actually liked that like reveal. How like
that was pretty decent.
She said,
that was pretty decent.
I liked that. I
We're
liked a lot of
friends.
things.
I've known you for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing of like, well, wait. So the me in the other dimension was like strong enough to stay after the accident, and she's like, "Fuck, are you talking about, bitch? It's not an accident." Let me pull up some video footage, because to have it open with her and like her husband, are they married? Did they say that? I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. To have it open with them, arguing almost, and him being like, "You should go, come on," or whatever, right? Like it was this cool way of like, if you think back, all of those statements and like looks and like emotions fit, even though you didn't know yet. Like that was really well done.
I liked and hated him getting into that bomb shelter of his friends or whatever, where she's like, hey, can I use your bomb shelter? But I was like, is it not locked? Like, how did you get in? There's not like a key under the mat. That would defeat the purpose of having this like shelter. And like, but they don't really show him getting into it. So I'm like, or is it like in the basement of the guy's actual house or something?
I imagine. I don't know. And like, so that was one of the 2 times I was like, oh wait, am I missing out on some sort of Easter egg? Because that looks like the bomb shelter from the trailer for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
No, it's different.
Okay. Because part of me was like, oh my god, if that little girl is the actress in 10 Cloverfield Lane and it's been fucking years or whatever, that would be horrible.
Yeah,
and
impossible.
Everything's connected.
Possible, but impossible.
It's a mystery box that we're not allowed to open.
It's just I ultimately felt disappointed by the movie just because of the the weird things where I'm like, well, it seemed like you were writing two different movies here, and they kind of merged together. And honestly, 3, because it's also Cloverfield, where I was like, I think this could have been a totally different movie. I think it could have been 2 different movies or a Cloverfield movie. And I would have liked a little bit more. The cool thing about the first Cloverfield, which you haven't seen, is that like you have this big monster, which you saw at the end, right?
Sure.
This giant monster. And like all over his body are like these like parasite things.
Oh, that's
so they're like monsters slightly smaller than humans that are like raptors in the fucking dark killing things. And I was like, and that made it so good because I was like, oh my god, it's a 2-front war. You gotta fight this giant thing.
Yeah.
Then you gotta fight these little things that like if they touch you, you like get a disease and die.
Oh god.
So like it was like, oh man, this is great.
That's terrifying. Okay, that wasn't really like alluded to here, right? They just had
it's also like I don't know. I imagine it's been actually the same amount of time that took place in the whole first Cloverfield movie.
Yeah.
So like we would have known a little bit more information than we know now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should touch on the ending then, right? Because that's what we're talking about. So I remember when Cloverfield came out, seeing some like designs and like concepts for like the monster, and they called those like little things lice. Was that how it was, right? Because
that's more accurate than parasites, I think.
Well, but it's not like it's babies or whatever.
No,
right?
no.
It isn't. So like it isn't even like you can kill the main thing and then they all die. Or
no,
something.
no.
It's an actual like organisms just have weird stuff about them and weird things you wouldn't expect. So much
Very cool.
Much like your bacteria might kill aliens if you just went there and you're like, what? I'm not even sick, and they're like all dying or whatever. This is just like, just this giant thing. So like at the end, he's like, tell them to go back. Oh God, fuck!
Yeah, you told them to come here. They're gonna drop somewhere near the Delaware River. Like what?
Yeah. What? And I was like,
get there. You have a fucking government. You get there, bitch.
And that was and so like I liked in the end like a lot of the stuff he was doing. They kept cutting to him and like the kid and all that stuff, and I was like whatever. But it kind of won me over at that ending part mostly.
If there was a sequel, you'd find out that her parents were killed. They would adopt that girl.
Yeah.
And then that would be them surviving the apocalypse.
And they'd be hanging.
I don't know if there'll be more. I think this was popular enough because people were curious and watched it, but I don't know if it got good enough reviews. On the whole. Well, like it wasn't bad. There's too many odd, unsewn up ends that throw me off.
Well, I think that you hit on it perfectly. That like it's like 2 movies. Like if I wanted Event Horizon, but actually like a pure like neutral sci-fi interpretation of like Event Horizon, it falls short in like that way.
Yeah, because it has too much bullshit.
It has too much stuff where you're like, ooh, wow, did he eat the worms? Oh my God, what's going on? And they're like, wait, there was a cantaloupe inside of him that can drive the ship that still works. Like, what's going on here? Like, too many things go crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, if you wanted it to be this like thriller, by the way, Daniel Bruhl, Zemo himself, I had to look him up because I'm like, it's time that I learned your name. I really like his acting. Like in a movie where like acting's not really like the main focus. Sometimes certain actors or actresses do this to me where I'm just like when he was doing stuff, talking to people, he does all these things with his face, and I was just like, oh, you're going so like above and beyond the call of this movie to like imply that you're saying this, but you're like trying to figure out what to say though, and like being weird about stuff.
I think my standout character was Monday. The armless guy.
Oh, Chris O'Dowd.
So
yeah.
I liked him a lot, but I thought the parts that I also liked about him I didn't like because I was like, oh man, he felt like a real person. A lot of that parts, except for the parts where I'm like, losing your arm, you'd be fucking freaking out, dude. And he took that really well.
I liked that.
Do you think it's gonna grow back?
Well, that was a little dumb, but.
But is it dumb though? Because nothing is rational about what's happening.
He did say like I don't know the rules now or whatever. No, so like Chris O'Dowd's a comedy guy, right? He was on the IT crowd, the IT crowd, whatever.
IT crowd.
But like so like I was shocked that he did pulled this off. So like
I thought he was the standout of of who I liked in it. I thought they gave him a lot of crap that like well, I can't act around bad lines. They're bad lines.
Right.
Just I can't get over the fact that like the rules are so unclear and dumb. Like I'm like, well, what world would involve an arm that's severed from the body of a dead person to be able to how did it know there was something in the guy's stomach, and how the fuck did it get in the guy's stomach?
Okay, right.
In the parallel world, is that how they sabotaged it? Oh, the Russian guy, he shoved the thing into the guy's stomach of your dimension. What?
Exactly. So like Jensen, the blonde that was across
the
dimensions.
Third Reicheth guy.
No.
Oh, the other guy.
The lady.
Yeah.
Her name was Jensen.
Yeah. What was the eye guy's name?
Volkov.
Yeah, he seemed such a Nazi to me.
Oh, and like all their fighting and all that shit or whatever, I was like, okay, like, what are we going for here? This is interesting. But like the movie could have been a great movie about. I'm sidetracking myself here.
Sure.
To finish my earlier thing, the movie could have been a like great movie about. We don't know if like that guy's being like duplicitous and what happened with that guy, and maybe it is because of Russia and what are you doing, right? That would have been like a timely, thrillery thing. And a lot of the scenes, like we have to do, I have to do the airlock manually, like all of that shit would have fit in with that narrative or whatever.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have needed to play up all like the weird shit. Or you should have cranked the weird shit to like 11 and just have the walls bleeding and weird fucking shit happening and you like seeing your kids alive for a second and just go fucking crazy with all of that.
Yeah, it's something that's very strange. Or like the very end, it's really just like the O2 levels were off and you're all just hallucinating and going crazy.
Honestly, I'm down. I don't care.
Yeah. So I enjoyed my time in the movie. There were some cool concepts, but I think ultimately the bad concepts destroyed it for me. Where I was like,
yeah.
Finish a thought here, buddy. Like you can't leave me half cocked here.
Right. I don't think that it was a bad movie that had some good parts. I think it was like a good movie that was disappointing overall because of some issues it had or whatever.
That's fairly accurate.
A good movie with problems or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I actually started thinking about it because of the ending and like the tone of it, the musical cue and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is actually like a really good episode of Black Mirror. This is not like this is not a bad movie. This is a good episode of something else.
Because the set looked great.
Yeah,
and that's
it was really well done.
What throws you too, where you're like, no, this isn't like a poorly produced movie. This is like a high budget feature.
Right.
So like, what happened?
Well, it's
How do you get past the part where, like the script problems are the things that get me the most? Because I'm like, this is the cheapest, easiest thing to fix. You could pass this to 10 people and go, so what do you think? And they'd be like, so how is the arm doing that? And no one asks these questions?
No, but someone's rolling their eyes right now saying, oh my God, that's the point, is that there's things we don't understand. And that can't be explained.
But at one point, say anything to that effect. Like,
or something, yeah.
Anything. I always say, just give me the one sentence of whatever. Be like,
yeah,
we're not just spilling over into two realities. There's millions of realities coming together here at one focal point. We don't know what's happening. And like.
Yeah, no, they tried to like paper that over and like put a Band-Aid on it by having people like 5 or 6 times throughout the movie. Someone says, "Well, I don't know what the rules are anymore. Well, the rules don't apply anymore," or something like that. But the rules mostly apply.
That's the issue, is that they applied 99% of the time. It's just to the part that were bad plot they don't apply.
Right, like the laws of physics are fine when like the damaged things hanging and like gonna spin too far and like destroy the ship. We're not we're not at all worried about how that's gonna play out. But yeah, arms can like I can't get over how it was like, I'm an arm. How you doing?
Well, it was
like pulling itself along and all that stuff. I just thought of Addams Family. I just immediately thought of that. And then I'm like, okay, this will have an explanation. And to their credit, they actually say, are you controlling it? And he's like, what? No, or something like that. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping that just like the space-time in between his like stump and like his arm was like warped and he could still like control it or whatever the fuck.
I thought it was going to save the day at the end.
Yes! Oh my God, thank you.
Because you see it in the cage still moving, and there's like, the person's coming at her with a gun, and I'm like, all right, she's throwing something, she's going to throw it and smash the glass and get out. No, she throws it and hits Jensen. That makes more sense, I guess.
Here's what I thought was going to happen. I'm so glad you mentioned that. So, like, they showed 2 or 3 times that to fire off the reactor, you have to turn these 2 keys. I thought the arm was going to have to turn the other key because the other guy actually was dead, and they were going to have to fire it like 1 or 2 more times or whatever the fuck. Oh, man.
Yeah.
As far as sci-fi goes, it's like pretty soft at the end of the day because like the answer is, oh, we just have to click the little ventilation thing from off to on or whatever, and you're like, oh,
it's very much a Twilight Zone type of ending, where it's like, the billions of things that all had to act in perfect unison that somehow got us here. If we hit the button again, we'll get sent right back.
We'll just fly back through the cloud in reverse,
exactly.
And that'll send us back. And even in the Twilight Zone, they didn't quite go back to where they were going to come from, right?
They were smarter than
a little thing. No, so that's what I thought was going to happen too, is that they were not going to quite be back where they came from.
Well, in quotes,
they might not be,
because
right?
they now have monsters.
Well, yes, but
that could be from opening the door, whatever.
I thought they were going to shoot into like a third similar but also different like reality of things like that.
So the dad from Grounded for Life, who is the I don't know what you'd call him, the Alex Jones, I guess, of that world.
Oh God,
that
I
made
hated
me
that
so
much.
angry because how on the fucking head
No,
he nailed
exactly.
it. He's like, monsters come from other dimensions. Will come here. Blah blah blah.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that the experiments they're conducting today could unleash demons?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes, demons!
That's
The globalists are attacking us. The
infuriating,
demons are attacking.
Because if you didn't put that in there, there would have been no, like, the end actually could have been a twist.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's obviously not because you suck.
No, it sucks.
And I like that character a lot, so I hate to hate him.
I don't know who that guy is. I was like, wow, Dan Aykroyd looks
you know
great.
him from Blade? He is when his hand gets blown off by the sword.
Donald Loge.
Sure.
Tao of Steve.
Yes.
I know something for once. No, yeah, I did not recognize him in that role, but yeah, that was so on the nose. It bothered me a lot. It was very premature in the movie. I guess that's the place you would stick it in, to put it in there. Yeah. But yeah, like, because if you take that out and you just have all the weird shit happen, like, you could have been forgiven for like forgetting about it being Cloverfield for like
exactly
the middle like 90 minutes,
but
and
that
then just have
shit
at
that
the
scene
end.
has no place in the movie.
That sucks. Yeah, I know. So that spent I spent a while being bothered by that. I'll put it that way. I totally agree. Oof.
If you need to put a scene like that in, you could have put that maybe while the, like, right after, like, tell them to go back, tell them to go back.
And have like
maybe it's them, like,
television footage or whatever. Yeah.
I warned you that using this could let loose demons and monsters into our realm. The end is near. And then, like, a foot crushes the TV store or something.
Because that would have made sense, because you want the smart people to go, wait a minute, and then have all the dumb people be like, okay, guys, here's what happened. We tore a dimension. Yeah. Also, in time, not just space, because space and time, I'll explain that later. Anyway, and you go through the whole fucking thing and be like, right. But, no, I fucking, that's right up my alley. That's what I said at the beginning, is, like, if you were to tell me that, like, the events of something that takes place in, like, Hercules' Legendary Journeys could be explained by some, like, techno thing and some other, in Cleopatra 2025 or something like that, because of, like, space and time warping together and all this other business, I'm totally on board with that.
They should have done that.
I love, like, oh, the reactor's misfiring and Cable's doing this and Forge is there, but then something else happens, and then, you know, like Professor X can sense something's wrong across his, you know, he's talking to himself in the future. Like, oh my God, give me all that shit. So I should have loved this, and I was just like, meh.
Yeah. I think that's the conclusion. The walk away is that the movie's kind of meh. It's worth a shot if you're like a real sci-fi guy, but if you like realistic sci-fi, you're not gonna like this.
Right. I think that it's worth watching. I think that it's well done and has some good shit in it. I
have restraint. Like when you say like worth watching, is that there's so many things better than this that I'd be like, if you've already seen everything on your list, then I'm like, yeah, it's worth a go. But like, I think I would have rather spent an hour and a half watching something else.
Okay, I would agree with that. There's a lot of other stuff on my quote-unquote list that is a list, so it's not quote-unquote, that I would have, like, in like hindsight rather seen. But I mean, like, when things are trending, when things like come up, when they get released,
for the ability to talk about,
like,
understand what's happening,
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You have to be like, should I skip this one and see it someday or never, or should I watch it?
If you're gonna watch it now.
Watch it.
But if you're like, I may never watch it, then just fuck it.
Yeah, because some stuff like Death Note you should skip. And this one, I'm like, no, don't skip it. But if you're not interested, don't watch it. And if you are interested, I guess, well, it's like the worst, most tepid recommendation I've ever made in my life.
All right, guys, so that's this. Let us know in the comments below what you think about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time. Did I question? I care about you. And did I question? I care about you.